Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Twilley. I'm the director of the Women's Business Center here at Maryland Capital Enterprises. Thank you guys for joining us today. And I just want to give you a little information about who we are and what we do. We are a nonprofit based here in Salisbury, and we serve all the Eastern Shore of Maryland, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and Anne Arundel County with our free services. We do business consulting, marketing consulting, training workshops such as this, and we also do micro and small business loans. Today we have Dr. Amy Hager, who is the owner of Night Watch Childcare here in Salisbury, and she is going to give you a little more information about herself and then get started. Thank you.
There. Thank you so much, Lisa. I'm always excited to do stuff with you guys. I love how you guys are empowering women, small businesses. Like, I think it's small business are going to change the world. Like, so I'm super excited about that. Yes. So anyway, my name is Dr. Amy Hager, and I'm a business coach out of Salisbury. And I also am the CEO of the Night Watch Child Care Center. We are Maryland's only overnight child care center. And today we're going to be talking about how to take market research and turn it into revenue. It's super important that as small businesses, we are keeping track of data in our business. I know when it's a small business, sometimes we start off as a 1 or 2 person operation. And so we are focused on making the pizzas or watching the kids or making the bath bombs and the candles, but we need to keep kind of a pulse, know the pulse of what's going on in our industry. Big business, Walmart, Starbucks, they have whole groups of people that they just analyze data all the time. There are companies that all they do is market research. They literally just interview people all the time, and they take a look at patterns and they sell that stuff to these big companies. And that's how they make decisions on what flavor coffee they're going to have and what's the logo going to look like. And should we change the color? Like they don't make a decision just from their gut because they feel like it's a good idea. And sometimes in our small businesses, because it was kind of birthed from an idea, or maybe it was passed down from a family member, there's a lot of emotional connection to it. So using data allows us to kind of separate from that emotion and make CEO types of decisions. And from a small business, even though we might be a small business, I want all of us to start thinking like a multi-million-dollar CEO would, and that's they make data-based decisions. So there is a link. I actually put 2 links in there. The first one's wrong. The second one that says research to revenue. There's a workbook that you can download. It's completely free, and you can kind of walk through it. You can just follow along with me as I'm talking, but that workbook has places where you can just kind of take notes and kind of plan out how you are going to start collecting data on your clients. So the top 4 reasons why, or top 3 reasons I think it's important. 1, it helps you make objective decision making, because again, we want to take the emotion out of it. I know it's your business, baby. I know you've worked hard on it. I did the same thing. And I'm also going to be paralleling my mistakes as a baby business owner when I was not using the market research to my childcare center. The second one, it helps you stay on top of industry trends. And the last one, it helps us make very streamlined decisions so that we can see that success faster because we're not making those gut decisions. With my childcare center, when I first opened it, as an educator, I was a public school teacher for 14 years. I thought, oh, you know what? The moms are busy. What would be really great is to have activities for them to do on the weekends. Mom and kids can come and we'll have games and crafts. We'll make it free. It'd be a good way to like connect with the community. Awesome. Another thing we did was we had an activity calendar. Me and my staff, we were coming Facebook events, looking up movies, what was the library doing? And we were coming up with these calendars of all these free events that we thought that the parents would like. And do you know what happened? Nobody showed up. Nobody was joining our email list. And when I would ask parents, I'm like, hey, what's going on? We're having this event. And they said, that's when we're sleeping. You're having events at 11 o'clock on a Saturday. I'm in bed, or 1 o'clock on a Saturday, I'm sleeping. So I really need to get in tune to what my parents really needed. They don't have a lot of time. They don't have a lot of money. So I had to start shifting my energy into understanding the childcare subsidy process so I could get them their benefits. I had to be open to payment plans. I had to kind of change up my product suite, so to speak. Instead of offering these calendars and activities, I had to have strategies and programs in place that could get my parents in the door fast so they could go to work and it'd be affordable. So the 4 types of data that we're going to be talking about, the first one is observations. The second one is surveys and interviews. The third ones I like to call work samples, because I was a school teacher, and work samples, I would say, are the things that they are doing without your help. When I was a school teacher, work samples would be things that after I gave the lesson, what were my kids able to produce without my help? And I was able to get a lot of information from that. And the last one are scholarly journals. So there's these social scientists, they do these studies and then they put out these results. And big companies, again, they look at that data to see what people are, what people are doing in regards to services and products. So the first one is observation. We learned about that in like 6th grade science with the scientific method, and we're observing our clients. And the reason why we want to do that is we want to kind of create a profile of our ideal client. My ideal client at the Night Watch Child Care Center, single mom, a couple of children, new to the area, new to the country, does not have reliable, consistent family or friends that can watch their kids. Does that mean I don't have parents who are 2 parents married home that use us? We do. Does that mean I don't have families that have families in the area that can watch their kids? Absolutely. But my bread and butter are those moms that don't have any other place to go, so they send their kids to us. So I need to have that profile and I need to know everything about them. Where are they hanging out? Who are they hanging? What are they doing in their spare time? That's how I figured out that they don't have Saturdays to come and hang out with us because they're sleeping. That's how I knew that I had to get a virtual process in place to fax medical paperwork over, because they don't have time to come pick it up during the day because they're sleeping. They don't have time to go to the pediatrician, ask them to fill it out, and then have to go a day later, 2-3 days later, and get to pick it up. I had to get things in place because I began to observe my audience. We want to pay attention to, like, again, where are they hanging out? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? That's going to help you with your marketing. I realized that a lot of my moms are in their 20s and they're not, some of them are on Facebook, but a lot of them aren't. A lot of them are on Instagram. You know what I mean? Like, not a lot of them are just Google searching me. They're not even on, they don't have time for all that. So I didn't even think about putting my business on Google. I just thought it was just, my business was automatically on Google. And I found out it was a whole process of getting my business on Google so people could Google me. I've also been paying attention to my GoDaddy statistics of what are people searching, and I'm getting those little search terms. People are typing in daycares in Salisbury. So now I know to use that in my marketing with my blogs and things like that on my website. So when people are searching, they're going to immediately come to my website. So I didn't, again, I was leading with my gut thinking, oh, I will get everybody to share everything on Facebook. It wasn't working. I very rarely get parents in my inbox on Facebook. I had to follow, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I had to follow the profile. Another thing is they're hanging out their jobs. A lot of these moms go to work and they come home and they go to sleep, and that's it. So I needed to go find them there. So I put signs out in the community. I knew they were going to the grocery store. So I have signs out in Walmart. If you go to Fruitland, there is I've got signs all in front of the Walmarts, in front of the Food Lions. I pay attention to where I know they're going to catch me. And I also am not afraid of faxing things to their jobs. I send things to developmental centers, the jail, the prison, like all these places where I know that they may see it on their break, because again, they're only going to work and they're coming home. So I've got to catch them in one of these areas. It helps me understand their family dynamic. I was able to realize that they may not have anybody else. And if they can't pay the bill, they might not be able to go to work. So some daycare centers, if you are a week late, they stop watching your kids. I understand that that's kicking a horse, you know what I mean? Like, it's kicking a dead horse. I cannot do that, or I will lose business. I have to have things in place to allow parents to pay later or pay on payment plans. Another thing I knew I couldn't do was charge for every minute that they're late, because I realized that a lot of these moms, their jobs, they can't leave until the next person comes in. A lot of them were working at Dove Point, which is a developmental center. Some of them are working at the hospital. They can't leave until their coverage comes. If they leave because they have to pick their kids up from daycare at 11 o'clock at night, they could lose their job. And again, I've now lost a family. Some childcare centers charge by the minute for the late pickup. They're charging $5 a minute, $1 a minute. I understand that if a mom has to stay for an extra 5 hours or 3 hours until their coverage comes, that could break her for the month. I'm not doing that, because the data tells me that I would lose her altogether and I most likely won't even get that money. So again, it really just goes back to really understanding all the inner workings of my families. The second thing is a survey. I think we see this one the most common, and I think a lot of businesses are quick to use this one first. I talked about observation first because we really need to understand our ideal client before we can start asking them questions. I learned this when I was teaching school. I would teach kids, I taught eighth graders, right? I'm teaching them English. I'm teaching them how to write essays, which they hate doing. And I would get up in front of them and say, does anybody have any questions? And they would look at me and no, I don't have any questions. Then I would get the essays and it would be nothing what I taught them. And I'm like, why didn't they just ask me a question? Because they didn't know what question to ask. How do you know what question to ask if you really don't know what your problem is? But if I'm observing them and I'm making a profile, I've already kind of seen where their pain points are. So if I were to go to parents and say, hey, parents, how can we help you get into the night watch? I'm not going to get any feedback. But if based off of my observation, I say, hey, what is going to be easier? Payment plans, childcare vouchers, or sibling discounts. And I just kind of throw out 3 ways that can be, you know, kind of reduce the cost of childcare for them. And then they're going to answer. They have choices now. And so when I was teaching school, I would say, okay, guys, are we having trouble with the introduction? Do you not know where to start? Do you not, when I say thesis statement, did you not understand when I say thesis statement, do you know what I mean? And so they were able to now answer me, and I was able to get a little bit more information from them with a concrete direction of where to go next. If my parents say, hey, I need help with childcare vouchers, done. Now I know exactly where to go. They've told me what they needed, and now I have a plan in place. There are a bunch of tools. SurveyMonkey, I probably see the most. You can use Google Forms. I use that sometimes with my families if I just, you know, need to throw out something quick. But I would not use surveys in the open space. Like I see some people using like polls and things like that in their Instagram stories or on Facebook. And why I don't think that necessarily is great is because you want to ask your niche audience. And it's not everybody that follows you on Instagram is you're going to be your ideal client. I have a bunch of people that follow me on Instagram that will never pay me a dime, and that's okay. I save that for my email list. So if I have questions, I'm not going to shop it on Facebook. I'm going to just give it to my current parents or my email list of potential parents. I'm constantly asking them, how can we help you? Here are your choices. What do you need me to do to make this happen? But again, you can't create these questions unless you've done the observation and you have this profile. Open-ended questions can be really helpful because it will give you some insight to where they're thinking, but I wouldn't just rely on open-ended questions. I maybe would provide a couple of multiple choice and then give them an option to share. Because at this point, you still may have missed something. You could have the best, you know, profile, but you know, you'd be surprised what somebody come out of left field and give you a little gem, and you think, oh my gosh, I don't know why I didn't think of that before. And then you can maybe take that and use that in your emails, because if they see their verbiage in your survey, they're going to feel connected to it because they're going to remember, oh my gosh, I remember I told her that idea, and they're going to feel a lot more connected to your business. And I'll branch this out from childcare. You know, if you have a restaurant, for instance, say you have a pizza place and you've done your observations, you've noticed that it's families, that's going to be your bread and butter, that family that's going to come in after the T-ball game or something. Every Thursday, they're going to come in, and you want that same family, those types of families come in every day. They've got a couple of kids. They're probably going to spend $60 or $70. You know, the survey for them is, hey, we're thinking of expanding beyond pizza. What do you guys think? We want maybe wings, subs, pasta, and you start shopping that to your ideal clients. And then they pick, let's say they pick wings. And then 6 months later, you decide you're going to add that, and you post it on your menu and on your website and on your social media. They're going to remember 6 months ago when they mentioned wings, and they're going to come in and try it because they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I was part of that decision. They're going to feel part of your business. So that's an awesome way to just make that connection beyond the virtual space when you have so many customers, especially in a place like that, like a retail store or a restaurant, when you've just got tons of people kind of in and out. The other one I would recommend is, okay, all right, sorry. So now we're going to move on to the work samples. So again, when I was teaching school, it was, what could they do without me? This one is going to take a little more like legwork in regards to finding out their pain points. So if your pain point you're solving is a quick dinner, if the pain point you're solving is childcare, if the pain point you are solving is, let's say you make bath bombs and candles and things like that, you're solving a problem for like gift giving or like whatever it is, whatever pain point you're solving, what you want to do is you want to find out what else are they using? Where else are they going for this stuff? in childcare, in my business, for instance, what else were they using was family. They were using friends, especially if they worked at 11 to 7. It's real easy to drop your sleeping child off and then go to work and pick them up in the morning. You know, most people don't care about doing any of that. But then once I found that, now it's time to start finding problems in that. Where else is your client going for those goods and services? Are they going to Amazon? Are they just going online instead of coming into your store? Are they cooking? You know, instead of coming into your restaurant, are they cooking? And then once you find out what they're already doing, then that next step is, well, what's the satisfaction rate of them using that? Do families like going to Walmart and getting the stuff to make a pizza and coming home? They may enjoy that family bonding time. And what I saw a lot of restaurants do, not just chains, but even small businesses, especially when COVID happened and people weren't going to the restaurants, is they began selling family dinners, family style. And you could get a whole chicken and you could get the big thing of macaroni and cheese and all that. So you could have that family environment. So you saw, and I know they did it out of necessity, but I think they kind of stumbled on something great, because even though restaurants are open in most places, Bob Evans, you can go on Grubhub and buy a whole meal from Bob Evans all the time. They used to do it sometimes around Thanksgiving, but like now anytime. And so I can still have an at-home meal with my family. If I've got small kids, I don't want to take them out, or maybe I'm still uncomfortable with COVID, or maybe I have a family member who, you know, really can't, you know, get out of the house. We can still have that amazing experience, but still have Bob Evans food. So finding that satisfaction and then finding dissatisfaction. So yes, at my childcare center, there were a lot of families that were using family members. And I would have parents contact me. Yeah, we want to sign our kids up. And then it's, oh, I'm going to get my grandma to watch them. I'm going to get my mom to watch them. And lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, I need to use you guys. My mom doesn't want to watch them anymore. Or my friend, you know, she bailed out on me last minute. And I would hear that quite often. And I understand, you work a day job, you don't want to come home and watch somebody else's kids every day for free. So I was able to find discomfort. I was able to find a pain point, and I capitalize on that. And in my marketing, in my email marketing, my social media, I talk about that. Like, getting your family to watch your kids sometimes has strings attached. They're going to hold it over your head. They're going to throw it in your face later. Like, what happens if you get in a fight with them? Now you can't go to work because you got in a fight with your sister and she doesn't want to watch kids anymore. Or if her kids get sick and she doesn't want them at the house. We don't have that issue at the Night Watch. If kids are sick, they stay home. Bring your kids. We are going to be there every day. We're not going to cancel last minute. We're going to be open. It's not going to be an issue. It's completely business. You pay us money. We watch your kids. Doesn't matter how bad they are. We're going to watch them. It's fine. It's not a problem. We're not going to keep calling you at work, telling you to come pick them up. We're not doing any of that. So being able to find that pain point and figuring out, okay, how can I compete with it? Because a lot of people thought, oh, overnight childcare, and we're the only one in Maryland. Oh, it's a no-brainer. You guys are going to be full. Like, there's nobody else doing what you do. But when I looked at because I thought that, I was like, oh, easy breezy. We're going to be so full. But when I looked at the data, when I looked at my profile, when I observed, when I asked questions, when I surveyed potential parents, I realized that I did have competition, and the competition was free family and friends. And so you may not even realize who your competition is. You may be the only type of store like yours or business like yours in the area, but open your mind up to who else could be the competitor. They could be the competitor. If you have a pizza place and there's a family, a mom or dad who loves to cook, they are your competitor. If you, I don't know, if you are a bookkeeper, QuickBooks is your competitor. That's who I use. I use QuickBooks. Yeah, I could use an in-person bookkeeper, and I'm sure that she would provide an amazing customer service, opportunity. But right now I use QuickBooks. So knowing what types of apps and software out there are competing with you, understanding that people can be doing some of these things at home, depending again on your industry, they could be looking it up on YouTube and TikTok and doing this stuff at home. So you want to find out what they're already doing and finding out what the success rate is and figuring out how you can improve the success rate with them, improve that satisfaction. And then the last one is scholarly journals. So I had a lot of experience with scholarly journals when I was working on my master's and my doctorate. So like I said earlier, social scientists are constantly studying why we do things, how we do things, and big companies are paying for that information. So for me, what I like to do is I like to look up journals for emotional pain points of single parents. And I like to find out what is causing them duress so that I can provide products in my product suite to help them. It's not just about the childcare. Yes, we watch kids. Yes, we provide a safe environment, consistent childcare. But I also know that, again, when I look at the journals, that many of these young moms are being isolated because they had kids young. And that's all they do. Remember, earlier I said they go to work and they come home. So they're not reaching out with other moms. They often think that they are the only ones that have children struggling. And I have many phone calls with parents and they think, oh my gosh, especially when the kid turns like 11, 12, 13, and we don't really watch them anymore. But, you know, we still keep in touch with the mom, and they think they're the only one going through these struggles. Or they're having issues with the children's father. They think they're the only one that has a deadbeat dad in the picture. And I have to reassure them, no, you are not the only one going through these issues. And finding out ways that we can support them, whether it's me making time in my day to counsel some of these moms that might just need 10 or 15 minutes to talk. I've had moms call me on my nights off, or even when I'm at the center, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Miss Amy, can I just talk to you for a few minutes? Can I just talk to you? And we will sit on the phone and they will tell me everything that's going on. And I realize that I'm seeing it in the studies, and then I'm seeing it with my parents, that the mental health of these young moms is critical at this point, that they've been isolated. The only thing they're looking at is Instagram, and they're looking at TikTok, and they're looking at Facebook, or they're looking at any kind of social media that's telling them that they're not perfect. They don't look the right way. When I see all these young moms and the only pictures I have are filters and things like that. So that tells me that they don't even feel comfortable posting a picture of themselves. Everything has to be filtered. Everything has to be perfect. That is wearing on them. I got this information from looking at these journals. And then it's going to help me provide other services. Another thing is I always try to make sure we have a couple $100s on standby in case something happens. Because again, when I looked at the profile, a lot of my moms don't have the consistent family support. Again, if you can't even have somebody to watch your kids for free, if something were to happen, like you have to be out of work for COVID and now you can't pay your car payment, or we had another mom who the little boy had to have brain surgery and had to be at Children's Hospital for 2 weeks and was going to miss work, and work wasn't going to pay her. So fortunately, we were able to spot her for the rent for that month. I mean, like, I want to make sure that we have these things, but I'm only going to be able to prepare to have these products in my suite, so to speak, if I'm looking at the data. So when you're looking at these, to find these scholarly journals, and if you get the workbook, I have a little screenshot. Google Scholar is great. If you're already attending college, your school may have an online database. Your public library may have one, and you maybe just get a library card and take a look at their online databases and find these scholarly journals. Scholarly journals are different from just Google searching and finding an article that's maybe published in a magazine. Those can be biased. Depending on who's publishing the magazine. I think we can all agree that sometimes press can be a little, one way or the other, but these journals are peer reviewed. They are done by scientists, and you can only really find them in these databases. It's kind of hard to find them just Google searching. Sometimes you have to pay for them. So Google Scholar is great. So when you're doing that research, you want to make sure that you're looking at things that are a little more current, because again, I don't want to know about a 20-year-old mom from 10 years ago. I want to know about a 20-year-old mom in 2020, 2021. So just looking at articles that are maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 7, I wouldn't go 10, maybe 7, 5 to 7 years old max, because you want to find out exactly what's going on. The other thing that you can be researching is, well, let me give some more examples. So it's like, say if you, and I don't, if people want to chime in of what industry you're in, and I can give you more examples of what you would search for. But if you were in the restaurant industry, I would be looking at what are families, like what are some hardships families are going through right now? What are they struggling with? Is it not having enough time to work with their kids? Are their kids suffering from some kind of depression and anxiety? Are they suffering from financial issues? Are parents breaking up? Like what's the problem with families? And once you can get in the headspace of that, now you can translate some of that into your business. I like the farmers markets down here on the Eastern Shore, and I think about how they have really kind of tuned into that family market, you know, and I imagine families coming from Baltimore, DC, and they're driving, make that 2.5 hour ride, and then they're coming back on Sunday, and they've got the kids loaded up, they're all hyped up on, cotton candy and funnel cakes from the boardwalk, and they're driving everybody crazy, and then you get to about, I think it's Hebron, Mardella area, there is a farmer's market. And God knows they have a goat out front. I can't think what it's called. But anyway, they have a huge playground that you can just get out and those kids can run and they can climb on things and they have hay stacks and all that great stuff. Mom and dad can go in, do a little shopping, get a little snacky snack. Kids can run and play, get something to drink, go to the bathroom, because they've probably been driving maybe 45 minutes. And then they get back in the car, they've got all their Eastern Shore snacks and the kids are ready for a good nap. To me, and then there's another one a little farther, almost to the bridge. They've got a big sign. This is the last one. And they had like a big spider out front. They used to have a big apple on the side. But you see where some of these farmers markets have tapped into the family. They know, of course, there's tons of people coming back from Motion City, but their ideal client is that family with children that needs to get those kids out of the car because they're driving everybody crazy and they need to get rid of that energy. So they're getting out time. They have time to go play. Again, mom and dad have time to shop. They understood the assignment, so to speak. They understand that the dynamic in the family for a car ride for two and a half some hours. We just came back from vacation. They're cranky. You know what I mean? Like just getting them opportunity to get out of the car. It really lets me know that they made a decision based in data. Because there's some farmers markets that don't have that. But I know the families are showing up to those other ones, especially in the fall. And they have the pumpkin patch and the corn maze and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's a really great example. The other thing that you can find in these scholarly journals, hold on one second, is what are other businesses doing to solve those pain points? I want to find out what other, early childhood or parent support industries are doing to help the families. I want to know, what is KinderCare doing? That's a big chain, probably one of the biggest childcare centers in the country. I know that they offer a lot of education services. I know that they do a lot of stuff online. I know that they're very transparent, have a lot of photos and videos. They have a lot of testimonials. And so that builds a trust just in the virtual space if parents can see things. So based off that type of research, I know that I have a virtual tour. It's COVID. I really don't want a whole lot of people in the center, and I'm sure people can understand. And we also kind of work funky hours. We open at 2:30 p.m. We close at 8:30 in the morning. So a big majority of the time we're open, the lights are off, the doors are locked, kids are asleep. I'm not having parents come in to do a tour at 3 a.m. when we're open. But I also am not coming in at 11 o'clock in the middle of the day when we're closed. I'm not having people, my staff, come in extra when we're not open. That's not fair. A regular business wouldn't do that either. So what do I have to do? I know that parents want to see pictures. They want to have communication. They want to see what the center looks like. They're curious. And I understand it's their kids, right? So I know that we need to make a virtual option. So we have a virtual tour. You can go on it. You can get it. Another thing, I talked about Google Scholar. So when you go on Google Scholar, there's going to be places where you can kind of filter out the types of like the date and all that sort of thing. So just be mindful of the types of, terms that you're using, and be open to be broad. Like, I don't necessarily think I would put in night watch childcare centers or overnight childcare centers. Again, my ideal client, again, I talked about single moms. I want to know what's going on with single moms. I want to know families with multiple children, families from broken homes, families from divorce, families with, absent parents. I also get a lot of families that have experienced a lot of trauma. The majority of my kids, the mom has been in domestic violence. I need to know triggers. I need to understand that a typical kid may respond one way to some kind of correction, maybe like a stern voice or even a yell, versus a kid who's experienced some trauma. I need to understand that we may need to have other supports in place for mom. Mom might need to all of a sudden drop their kids off last minute. So when I look at the data, being that like last minute emergency place for our kids, we've had some parents sometimes call, or some moms call, and it might not be for work, but they need to drop their kids off with us immediately. So in my business plan, we make sure that we make room. We have, 2 or 3 spaces available every night should one of our moms need to one last minute pick up a shift for work, or something major's happened. And I also let moms know, like, hey, if you're sick, drop your kids off with us, go take some NyQuil and go to sleep. Like, we make sure that we have those things available, because what the data is telling me is that some of these single moms, like the depression and the anxiety, and then also they don't want to go to the doctor because they've put their kids first. That is number one. They're not taking time to go get help. They're not taking time to get therapy. So that's another thing we make sure that we keep on hand. I make sure I have a therapist number on, like, we keep information for 2 local clinics at our center at all times. I have a contact name at all of them. So when I see that a mom is ready, hey, I need to talk to somebody, or hey, I think my son needs a mentor, I make sure I keep paperwork for the boys and girls, the Big Sister, Big Brother Club. I keep the paperwork at the center. I always keep things printed out for the COVID rental assistance. Some of our moms don't even know about that. As soon as I find out that a mom has to stay home and it's COVID related, I immediately print that out and I say, I'm putting it in the mailbox, or do you need me to run it by your house? Just, again, rooting it in data. And so the last thing I'll say about the Google searching for your scholarly journals is that you want to avoid a simple Google search. Again, sometimes it'll send you down unfortunately, it's usually going to be the top 2 or 3 spots. It's going to be something paid. It's going to be something sponsored. It's going to be a company has some kind of blog and they toss in a statistic here and there to make it look like it's a study. But and even if you stumble across something like that, scroll down to the bottom and see if they have where that statistic came from and go to that article, because you want to make sure you're getting unbiased information that's going to help you. So those are all the different types of data that I would recommend using. And again, we want to stay rooted in that, because we don't want to be making these emotional decisions. And another reason why I say that, I shared at the beginning when I made that huge mistake and it cost me time and money. But lastly, if you make a decision and it was, that idea came from your heart and you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so great for my clients, I definitely want to do this. And you spend all this time and energy on it, and then it doesn't work. How do you think that you're going to feel? You're going to feel that emotional disappointment, and that energy is going to linger with you. And what we don't want to spend a lot of time, the CEO of Starbucks is not losing sleep when they make a mistake. I don't think he is anyway, or she, I don't know. But we want to make sure that we can conserve our energy for the money-making tasks. We don't and again, I get it. This is our baby, this is our business baby, but at some point we need to start putting systems in place that we can start disconnecting from that emotional reaction when things don't go well in our business, because all that's going to do is send us down a rabbit hole of feeling disappointed and feeling insecure and feeling like, did I make a mistake? Should I close it up and go back to my old job? And that is not what we want to do. We want to keep moving in our past and continue to grow our business. So I'll just open it up for any questions, and then we can get to any industry specifics if anybody has any questions.
Anybody have any questions? I don't see anything in the chat. Any questions? Awesome. Donna, are you good?
I'm good. This is so good. I've never even heard this perspective before.
Awesome. Well, maybe you guys could help me out, because I'd like to stretch this out a little bit. And I know you're going to have some people that are going to watch the replay. So what are a couple of industries that you guys directly work with, especially in the women's center?
I've got a few right now of women trying to create, one is event space and another one is trucking, and they want to do shipping.
Oh, okay.
Truck. So yeah, I've got a couple of those.
Okay, great. So let's go ahead and start with the event space. I love that. I follow a girl on TikTok. She's actually out of Maryland, and she's been buying up like old historic banks and turning them into wedding venues. And I was telling her about, there's a bank in Pocomoke that is for sale. And I was like, oh, she likes to find little historic towns. And then when people have weddings and things like that, they kind of take over the whole town and they take photos. And I said, oh my gosh, please bring that to Pocomoke, because we definitely need something like that. So yeah, I would do the same thing. Is I would start with who is going to be the ideal client for these venues. Is it just going to be weddings? Is it just going to be sweet 16 birthday parties, quinceañeras, that sort of thing? are we going to venture it out to businesses? Is it going to be for birthday parties? Family functions, things like that. And even like business mixers. I like to have my business women in the city events, and I have been having them at the Brick Room, which is a little bar in Salisbury. And I like it because it does have a place where you can get a little fun drink. It has a little outside courtyard, and then it also has like a space where we can kind of sit around tables and we can get some work done. So I think do they already have their space? Or are they just kind of thinking about opening up a space? They don't have the space yet.
No, they want it. It's going to be a two-part. So part of it is going to be co-working space for creative types.
Oh, I love it.
And then the rest of it's going to be event space, like you were talking, like for weddings, for record album release parties. Like,
oh yes,
seen this work in Baltimore City, and she wants to take it to Anne Arundel County.
Oh, that's my hometown. I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Okay, great. So she's going to kind of have two different audiences that she's going to want to do market research on. The one that's going to do those big events, but I also think that she needs to be looking at somebody that's going to use that space every month. With my events, I want to use the Brick Room once a month. I want to have people coming to those events every single month. So I think that I think with events, I think a lot of people think it's just that one record release, right? That one album release. But what if she could custom it where they come every month or every quarter with something, even if it's not a new album release, it's a re-release, or we're having another track, or we're going to have a dance party to celebrate it, the 1 year anniversary, you know what I mean? For her thinking about how can I take that one event and turn it into something that we do throughout the year. And in the co-working space, I think she needs to understand what type of person she wants to have in there to get that bread and butter, whether it's that mom that is starting that business in her house, but she's working at her kitchen table. And you know what I mean? Like as she does her observations, who is she targeting after? She's looking at somebody who doesn't have the space in their house because it's too loud and noisy. Is it that young kid that's still living with their parents but wants to have that professional space? Is it somebody who is creating a business in the virtual space? Like right now, I'm sitting on the floor at my mom's house because I had to run home. Typically, I have an office with all my stuff behind me. But I imagine if I was still living at home and I'm trying to start a business and I'm having professional meetings like this in Zoom, and thank God Zoom has this this blurry background, but sometimes you don't want that. I want people to see my awards and my pictures and all these wonderful things that I have behind me, and to have a professional space like that I can use consistently. That may be something for a small business. Somebody just kind of starting up, even if it's just in the virtual space, even if they're, a up and coming, virtual assistant or like whatever it is. And then also with the observation and the survey, asking them like very specific multiple choice questions, like what is your biggest hang up on your workspace, and finding out specifics on, well, why can't you work in your living room? Why can't you set up a home office? Finding out those. And when she finds those pain points, then she can start telling that story in her social media. She can start creating some kind of opt-in or freebie of, 5 reasons why you should use a co-working space. There's network opportunities. You never know who you're going to share a desk with. It creates a professional energy just with yourself. You have a place to go. It's one thing to sit on your couch and do your business from your phone, but it's one thing that you get up and you put makeup on and you put on an outfit and you go to an office, but it's not the office. It's the co-working space. You know what I mean? Just that step before. Another thing, it's a green option. Like I hate the idea of like all these little businesses having a whole office and taking up a whole space when you could have 5 or 6 virtual businesses all using the same space. Like that is an amazing green option. Or if I'm only going to work in the morning, I don't need to have the whole space. It's just a waste. Somebody else could be using my office in the afternoon. So just coming up with a couple of, like a checklist, and that could be something that can get that email list in, and just kind of getting people of like, is this right for me? Is co-working space right for me? And she may even find out when she does her survey and she's doing her observations that people don't even know what that is. I've been a business owner for 4 years. I just found out what a co-working space was maybe last summer. I had no idea that was even a thing. And I maybe, fortunately, I do have an office space in my home, but I refer that kind of stuff to some of my clients. I've got one who has 3 kids, and often when I'm meeting with her, she's in the kitchen and it's mommy, and is that Miss Amy again? And like, so that, she's trying to get stuff done. And I think having something like that for her would be great. So I think as with the co-working space, as she does those observations, as she's surveying her ideal clients. And again, the work samples of what are they doing without her? They're sitting at a dining room table. They're in their car. They're at Starbucks, and I think that that's going to help her figure out how to really customize that co-working space. I like going to Starbucks because I can get up and get a snack. I can get up and get a drink. You know what I mean? And so she may want to incorporate making sure she has a place to get coffee, or the location. She might want to make sure that she's close to some place that has beverages and snacks and things like that. She may have a snack station where people can just kind of buy cookies or whatever, put the money in the jar and, go back. So these are all things that she's going to find out as she really hones in, and she'll capture other people that want to use co-working space that don't meet this profile. But I'm really passionate about business owners getting a very detailed profile. Where are they hanging out? What are they doing? Where are they on the virtual space? All of that, because if you can do that, you'll catch all of them. And then the scholarly journals too. I would be looking at, like, what are some hardships of, new entrepreneurs during COVID. It's scary to start a business right now, especially if you're looking to do a brick and mortar type of business. Things are uncertain. So what are some pain points that she can be solving? And I think having, a la carte options, like I just want to use the office today for a meeting, or I'm comfortable having a 6-month contract. So that may be something to alleviate some of those pain points with starting a business, that no, you don't have to throw a bunch of money at rent, because that's the thing she can talk about. Because usually if you're going to rent a space, you need to have first and last month's rent. You have to paint, you got to do all this stuff that could cost you, $4,000 or $5,000 before you've even made a dime. But if I can go work in this professional space for, I don't know, $100 a month, $500, like, I'm not sure what her pain point is. I'd be able to get started without having to have all this upfront money. And then that may also lead into other services that she wants to offer and provide. She may realize that she needs to have Wi-Fi. She may want to have a color printer that people can pay to use. Who knows? Maybe they have a little key fob. They get to come in. It's open 24 hours, kind of like a gym and a Kinko's mixed together, and she's got a fax machine, and she's got a scanner, a laminator, and one of those things that makes books, those little spiral, whatever. She could have all that stuff, and people could pay a subscription, and they could come in and use that stuff anytime. If they want to do color copies, it just boop, boop, and it just ties to your credit card. I mean, who knows? You know what I mean? She could really branch that out when she really finds out what people are needing. Because I know Kinko's is expensive. It's a lot of money to go get some color copies, but sometimes that professional touch can really take a small business to the next level. And I know I've made things on Canva and printed things out, had it laminated, and people are like, wow, where did you get this? And I'm like, I made it myself. So to have that space where people can, do things themselves without having to spend a huge amount of money, I think would be really helpful for her. And then also with the journals, finding out impacts of different industries, so she can, if she's noticing that a lot of, I don't know, let's say virtual assistants, I'm seeing a lot of those pop up on TikTok, finding out pain points or finding out the industry trends with virtual assistants, or more people using virtual assistants, who's using virtual assistants. This may branch out where she is able to connect with a business coach and funnel people in, and it be an affiliate link for her, and everybody that she sends, like to me, for instance, she could be getting a little something off that if she sends people to a business coaching class or something, you know what I mean? Like, this could really stand out as she really seeks after the heart of her ideal client. And she doesn't have to do all this. She can literally just still be the business, but taking time to say, okay, oh, you need financing for your business. Oh, you know what? I've got somebody over here that does that, and send them their way. Oh, you're having some trouble because your credit's not that great because you didn't pay your student loans. Cool. I've got a credit repair person on deck. And all those people, that's residual income that she can get that can pour back into her business. And she really didn't have to do anything other than make that connection and get that link for them to, to send that way. So, and then regards to the events, I think getting her audience to understand that it doesn't have to be something super major to have an event space. I think that you could normalize having family functions. If you've got more than 20 people, 25, 30 people coming over your house for Christmas, would it be that bad to rent a hall and just leave the trash there? Instead of having everybody come to your house and mess up your couch, not having enough bathrooms, like, not having enough parking. You know, like my uncle, he's got a huge house and 2 parking spaces. He lives in Columbia. Like we can never go to his house because where are we going to park? So just normalizing that it doesn't need to be a record release party. And again, that's wonderful. You know what I mean? Those can be her big, those big ticket items. But on those slow months through the holidays and things like that, why not market to families? Because there are families that can afford that. There are families that get their meals catered. They get Thanksgiving catered, or they'll go rent a house somewhere and have everybody there. So if they're going to go rent a house, they could just rent her venue and have everybody come and have the music and have the fun, and the kids can run around and play and have a good time. If they tear something up, that comes out of security deposit insurance. It's not on the individual homeowner. So so just being open to different types of people. Yeah, exactly. Working smarter, harder, like just figuring out like how that space could be used for a very broad you know, set of people that's really going to be your bread and butter.
All right, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Any
I'm
other
definitely
any
gonna
other
follow
industries?
I'm gonna move this over. Definitely, I'm gonna let her see the recording of this because I think I was trying to take notes, but I think it'll be good to hear
Yep.
directly from you.
Awesome.
Beauty supply stores. We get a lot of beauty supply stores.
We do too.
Awesome. Oh, that's awesome. And I love that. And again, I would say the same thing where like, who's your ideal audience? Is it that the one that is using it every day? Is it the one that's just kind of popping in? Like I'm the girl that popped in. I went for my wedding. I got married a couple weeks ago. I popped in, I grabbed a couple tracks of like fake hair that I could put in so my hair was a little longer, and you know, just some curling wands, and I was out the door, and I probably will never go back there again. And then you got ladies who pop in there all the time. So figuring out why they're coming, what are they doing? What are the other stores doing that you are not doing? You know, do they have cheaper prices? And if you're not able, because what I've heard is that some folks have like a direct line with their suppliers, and then trying to get suppliers that you can price match can be challenging. So if you're not able to get those really low prices that some other beauty supply places are able to, what else can you offer? And instead of trying to pull ideas out of the sky, ask, what can you do a little differently? Can it be an event when they come in? Can it be an experience? Do you offer makeup classes? Could you have somebody to come in once a month and show people how to put on eyelashes? Could you have somebody come in and show them how to easily just put in, you just want a little extra hair for the night, how you can easily take tracks and cut them and put bobby pins in them and put, you know what I mean? Like some people don't even think that that would be an option for them, but to just kind of host classes. And it can be in a virtual space. It can be in person. People might want to come in and experience, you know, and play with some of the products. And I think having kind of like, if you know that your audience is on Instagram, for instance, I would be posting product of the day every day. I would, what's in my store? What's in my store? Because I know when I've gone into some of these beauty supply stores, it's so much. It's like going into a warehouse and I don't know where to start. So shopping things and saying, hey, you like these, you know, so what am I trying to say? The eyelashes. You like the eyelashes? They're in aisle 3. They're right here. When you come in, you know, but make sure you come say hi to me or whatever. And just create that personal experience. Again, I'm just going off my experience. When I've gone into the beauty supply stores, it's very much, I go in, they just want to make sure I'm not stealing anything, and then I pay and I get out. There's no like, hey, how you doing? Can I help you with it? Sometimes, but hey, how you doing? What can I help you with? And just creating that relationship. So I would really, with that particular group, I would pay attention to the work samples. What are they doing without me? Where else are they going? And take a look at the satisfaction rate, because they may be satisfied with the price, but they may not be satisfied with the experience. And then that is the pain point that you're going to fill. That's the gap that you're going to get into and try to create this amazing experience. And that may turn into ladies' night out. And if you buy the ticket for the lady night out, you also get a $25 gift card to the beauty supply store, you know, and making those connections. That the beauty supply store might be tied up with the event girl, and they could do girls' night out, you know what I mean? Or get up with somebody who has a car service. I mean, thinking outside the box and thinking about what else your audience wants. If you know that your audience wants a night out because they're coming in, they're getting the lashes, they're getting the makeup, they're getting their hair, they're getting whatever, they're looking for an outfit, they're looking for clothes, having all of those other services readily available. And again, the store owner doesn't have to have them, but if you're seeing women coming in and you know they're going for a night out, I've got a big event this weekend. I'm going out, bachelorette party, whatever. Hey, do you have your outfit picked out? No. Okay. You know what? I know a stylist. Here's her card. Having all that kind of stuff ready because you've been doing your homework on them. You know that if they're coming in and they're getting a face full of makeup, or they're coming in getting lashes, and they're coming in getting hair, and they're coming in getting X, Y, and Z, what else are they going to need? And based off your observations, based off your work samples, based off your the surveys, when you're asking them questions, when your customers come in asking them, hey, oh wow, you got these lashes, oh fancy, where are you going? That's a survey, and you write that down. Keep track. Every time you see somebody come in and get eyelashes, where are you going with these fancy eyelashes? And you write it down, and now you know why they're getting them. And you might have some say, oh, I just like wearing lashes. Awesome. Great. That's awesome. But you may have some that say, hey, I'm going to an event. Hey, I'm doing this, that, the other. And even the women who are just, let's say, just wearing lashes, you now know that there's a group of women who enjoy doing little more extravagant makeup at home. So what is a product suite, so to speak, that you can have for them? If they like doing that stuff on the regular, what are some other services that you can just kind of have readily available? Like I said, the stylist, having tutorials, and maybe they want to step up their makeup game. Could you have a makeup artist, not necessarily in the store, but have their business card, have her come in and maybe do a live on your Facebook and do some tutorials on using some of your products. So I think just really being tuned into exactly what they're looking for. And then even the scholarly journals, I would take a look at, if my client is constantly putting on eyelashes and makeup and fake hair and things like that, I would be looking at studies about self-esteem. You know, what is making women think that they have to put all this stuff on? And again, I've got makeup on, and I do it because I want to look nice on camera. I don't want to look all washed out, whatever. But most of the time, hair thrown up, don't have makeup on, and I'm in, like, you know, clothes I got at Dollar General. Like, you know, I'm very much a comfy girl. But you know, but do I have my days where I feel ugly? Yeah. Do I have my days where I feel like, why did this guy marry me? Because I look like trash. And so if I'm studying these articles, even if just 1 or 2 a month, you don't have to do it all the time. But now I know deep down, like a scientist has studied what the demographic of 20s and 30-year-old women, how are they feeling about their bodies, and why are they feeling this way? And then as a store owner, I can be talking about this stuff on my social media, talking about how beautiful you are, like the beautiful things you have about you that have nothing to do with makeup. I can start making them feel good about themselves and making that connection. So when it comes time for me to have that day where I'm gonna look super pretty, I'm gonna go into your store because I know you get me, because you've been speaking to me and my emotional, like, duress with my self-esteem this whole time.
Great. That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think we might have time for one more if you've got another one for me.
Those were awesome examples, Amy.
Great.
Lisa, you want to throw one out?
I get a lot of salons, which is similar to the beauty supply stores. We get those too. Food trucks, like catering and food trucks.
I love a food truck. Okay.
We get those too.
Yeah, same deal. I would be, again, the profile. Who is going to be your ideal client for a food truck? Is it going to be, like, I would think the on-the-go business person, you know, the person that just popped out for work. They don't necessarily have time to go and have a sit-down meal, but they don't really want to leave and go to McDonald's either. I hate that when I'm driving around and busy in Salisbury, the only place I will go and get a drive-through meal is Tropical Cafe or Tropical Smoothie or whatever it's called, because I don't want to go to fast food. It's, you know what I mean? Like, I'm at this age now where, like, I can't really eat that kind of stuff anymore. It makes me sick. So I'm looking for healthy options, and there really isn't. But what if I could go to a parking lot right downtown that's got, you know, fish tacos and, you know, fresh salads and just, you know, like options where I could go and have the options of going to a restaurant, but I don't have to, like, leave and go, you know, go get my car out of the parking garage in Salisbury and then go to Applebee's and wait 20 minutes. You know, I don't have time for that. I got an hour, you know, I need to go get my food and come back. But I want something quality. I don't want the soggy sandwich that I made this morning. I want something hot. I want something fresh. I want something delicious. So that is my target audience. That's the person that's going to come to me every single day. Again, I make that profile. They're busy. They want something healthy. They want something delicious, and they're okay paying for it because they've got this job. All right. I have no problem paying for a decent meal, especially if it's good and I know it's going to be healthy and I know it's going to be fast and I can get it and I can go back to my office or wherever I'm going to sit on the park bench, sit outside enjoy a little sunshine before I got to go clock back in and go to my job. So I would create a profile similar to that. And then as you know, the surveys, I would be finding out, are they on social media? How can I connect with them outside of just giving them food? So I would have QR codes. I would have my website. I would have things out there so that while they're standing in line, hey, you want to know what our menu is? Boop, boop. I can just QR code it. I can stand right there with my phone and I'm ready to order because I got to go back to work, right? Or want to stay updated on, you know, the new specials, or do you have a suggestion for something you'd like to have? QR code it, and I can immediately add them to my email list. And now I can engage with them because they don't have time to sit there and talk with me. They got to get their food and get back to work. So creating opportunities instantly right there at the food truck that they can build that email list and let them know where they're going to be. If they're going to be in DC one weekend, or if they're going to be an event one weekend, they can let them know. And I've been eating lunch with you all week. So of course I'm going to go to the Salisbury Festival, or sure, I'm going to go to the Folk Festival because I know I eat food from you every single day and I know it's good and I'm going to come see you. Of course, I go support you. You feed me every single day. And just creating that bond, because you're not, like I said, you're not always going to have time to sit there and chit chat with them because they're busy. When it comes to the work samples, I think we talked a little bit about that, bringing the soggy sandwich or skipping lunch. So in the social media story, and this kind of rolls into the scholarly journals, I would be looking at like self-care for busy professionals. Because I know in America, unfortunately, it's like work first, comes before everything, work through your lunch, stay late, you know, be on your phone all night, ignore your family, like work is everything. And that's just, we don't want to do that anymore. Small businesses, we're going to break up that stigma. We're not doing that anymore. But being able to find, what are these scientists saying about what is that? What's the impact of that on these professionals? Are their quality of life? Is it causing depression in them because they're not getting food? You know, that they're constantly tired. I know when I was student teaching back in college, I was like, I'd get up and I'd go student teach. I didn't have time to eat breakfast because I went to sleep till last minute. I wasn't packing lunch. That I'd come home, I'd grab some junk on the way because I'd be starving. So I was student teaching in Somerset County. I'd stop at that Hardee's that's right there on 13, get some junk. I'd go home and crash. And I'd wake up around 9:30. I'd have to do more work and I'd be up till 1. And of course, then I'm sleeping till last minute and do it over and over and over again. It ended me up in the hospital. I had pneumonia because I wasn't eating and I wasn't sleeping. And I know that that happens with a lot of young professionals because they think work is everything. If I just work harder, if I just work through my lunch, if I just stay later, that's going to get me ahead. And I'm sure that if you really dig into the data, you're going to see those trends and what's happening, not just to them physically, mentally, but just the industry. If you constantly have people burning out and you have to get new folks in, that's not good either. And with that data, that would be something great to shop to some of the companies so that you can send them information and say, hey, this is a great place for your staff to get lunch. They can just take a quick break because we know you want them healthy and happy. We know you want happy employees, and to be able to share that data and say, when your employees are able to eat breakfast and lunch and maybe a snack, it does increase productivity. That's the type of data you want to get into. So you're not, again, not just pulling things out of the air or what your gut tells you, which with that case, of course it's right. But to be able to go with data, because again, these CEOs, they want data, and to be able to say, hey, can I park in your parking lot? And this is why I think you should park in the parking lot. And this is going to be the benefit for you. It's not about taking up 4 parking spaces in your parking lot. It's about that your employees are going to have access to hot, healthy meals. And that's going to help. When you take a look at like Google and stuff, like they feed their staff. They have food on site at all times. They get breakfast, lunch, snack. They can go anytime and it's good food. I follow a lot of them on TikTok. It's good food. It's not little packaged sandwiches like it, like hospital food or whatever. Like it's like legit meals. So to be able to shop that to some of these companies to say, hey, can I sit in your parking lot? And this is why, and present that and make it some kind of format that you can send out to some of these companies, HR or whatever. I think that might be a good way to find locations, but then, having the QR codes and things like that to connect in the virtual space when they're off, your customers, so they'll keep coming back and they maybe go to events and things like that. So that would be my recommendation, to get some of that bread and butter and not just focus on events. Events are great, but we want these food trucks to stay, open.
Great, that's awesome. Very good tips.
Yeah.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions? Well, thank you so much, Amy. We appreciate all your knowledge and sharing with us today, and we can't wait until you do this again.
Awesome.
And I just wanted to mention a couple things. We do have a workshop tomorrow talking about self-care when you were hitting on that. We've been doing a self-care workshop series on Fridays, and tomorrow it's heart support for body and business. And it's dealing a lot with breathing, acupressure, and just how much can help us, you know, in the workplace. You can do it right at your desk, little things that make a huge difference. So we've been doing that for a while, and it's been going good. So it's 9:30 to 10:30 tomorrow. And then we also have 2 classes next week. One is Square Solutions, and that's using different tools that can help you in your business. And that is on the 16th at noon, 12 to 1. And then on the 17th, we have our second COVID Assistance Summit that we're doing in partnership with another Women's Business Center, the Baltimore Metro Women's Business Center. And that is actually where you can make an appointment with a subject matter expert to get help. And then we actually pay for that. So if you attend that on the 17th, it's from 9:30 to 12. Be sure to bring your appointment book so that you can book your appointment right then that day with one of the experts. So we're excited about that, and it's been very helpful for a lot of clients. So, all right, guys, well, you have a wonderful day, and thank you again, Amy.
Thank you.
Thank you. And congratulations on your marriage.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
Yes, and we didn't mention at the beginning, Amy's also our entrepreneur, MCE Palmer Gillis Entrepreneur of the Year Award winner. For those of you who didn't know that, she won for the 2021 award. So we're very excited for her. And she is also going to be on our Women's Business Conference, which is coming up March 11th. And now I'm giving you all these dates. March 11th, and that is from 9 to 1. That's also virtual, and she's going to be a panelist on there. So we're excited about that. So, well, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.
I see ya. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.
Oh, Donna.